welcome to Best Laid Plans. This is your host, Sarah Hart-Unger, and this is a podcast where we talk all things planning and planning adjacent. But today we are also going to provide an update about some upcoming courses, something I haven't done in a while because I haven't launched any courses in quite some time. I took a break from some of that for the book launch that's coming in December. But I'm very excited to share that Best Laid Plans at Home and Planning by Season are both coming back in 2026, and it will be both of their third year running. I definitely feel like these courses are getting better year after year as I take into account feedback, and as I use the materials myself, I figure out what I want to add and take away. Each of them come with downloadable workbooks, which can be used as planners in sort if you get them printed out, or electronically if you like to use them with an app like using GoodNotes. And I feel like they've just gotten better and better. I've loved seeing how the people in my Planning by Season group have been using them all year long. And yeah, just really, really proud of the material that I've developed for these courses. So what are they? Best Laid Plans at Home is 4 hours of structured annual planning divided into two 2-hour sessions. So it's 4 hours of content plus a 1-hour mid-year check-in that's held sometime in June so that people can make sure they're on track with all those goals that they've thoughtfully identified at the end of 2025 or the beginning of 2026. I typically offer multiple showings for Best Laid Plans at Home because I think this course is really the most effective if it can be viewed live. There's something about the energy of other people in the chat and just feeling like you are sat down and focused for those 2-hour blocks where you're really getting your own planning done, as there is time and space during these sessions where I provide prompts and space for you to actually get that planning done in a thoughtful and structured way. So I'm offering 3 separate showings to have multiple opportunities for people to attend live. One is in December, one is going to be in January, and one is going to be on a weekend. And each of those are actually 2 sessions, usually held 1 to 2 weeks apart. I have the actual dates all available on the website. So if you go to my newsletter, once you get it, and you click on the link for Best Laid Plans at Home to register, you'll actually be able to see all the dates there. But there's going to be 3 showings and 4 hours of structured planning time, plus a 1-hour check-in. I don't do 3 showings of that, just one time of that one, but that's a mid-year check-in that's available in June so that people can ensure they are staying on track with their goals. So that's Best Laid Plans at Home. Planning by Season is for seasonal planning, and it's a much smaller program, so I do expect it to fill up and sell out as it has in years past. This is a year-long program with 10 sessions distributed throughout the entire year. And it's definitely a smaller group because the idea is that people get to know each other, they get to know what each other's big goals are, and there's even the opportunity to connect and create smaller groups for more accountability if desired. Each of these 10 sessions are distributed throughout the calendar year, 1 per quintile of the core planning sessions, and then 1 per quintile, usually held around the middle of the quintile for more of a check-in and topical discussion. We just had a wonderful one mid through quintile number 4, where we kind of all talked about our back to school goals and how things were going. And then we kind of drilled down on routines and habits. So that's an example of what a check-in session might look like. During the actual planning sessions, I do guided planning, kind of similar to the annual planning at Best Laid Plans at Home, except it's geared towards planning your season. So it makes sense that it's shorter. I've always talked about how I think the length of time planning should be proportional to the amount of time you're planning. So Best Laid Plans at Home, we got 4 hours divided up into 2 2-hour sessions. And then for the season, you just have 1 planning hour and then 1 check-in hour per season. Last year, we also did a social kickoff as a bonus so we could get to know each other before. I think I'm planning that as well, but I'm not 100%. So, I'll do that as an add-on. But for right now, it's 10 hours of interactive content with a PDF guide that can be kind of serve as a goal planner as I have throughout the year. This year, I'm doing something new to thank people who have been so amazing to sign up for multiple courses, and I am offering a bundled price for the first time. So if you're going to do both of these programs, Best Laid Plans at Home and Planning by Season, there'll be a special discount rate. If you have already signed up for Best Laid Plans at Home 2026, or if you are going to Best Laid Plans Live, I will honor that as well. You're going to have to contact me and I'll send you a special discount link for Planning by Season so you can get that discounted price. Otherwise, they're available a la carte or they're available together at a discount. And I'm just so excited to be offering these planners for the 3rd year running. If you have any questions about any of them, just email me. I'm Sarah with an H.Hart, Hart.unger at gmail.com. And then, of course, you can reply to my newsletter when you get it. That's going to come out on October 1st. Just make sure you are signed up to get it. If you're not, that can be found at theshoebox.com, theshubox.com/newsletter. And with that, we're going to spend the rest of the time today talking about fun. This idea came to me because actually, I was inspired a little bit by my Planning by Season group yesterday as we were talking about fall fun and people came up with such great ideas. And it just struck me that if we do not plan our own fun, nobody's going to plan it for us. And you can think back to a childhood trip where you had such a fantastic time. Like I remember going to Disney World as a kid. I think I only went once or twice. But when we went, it was awesome. My parents had, planned different activities. And I remember looking at like books to figure out where in the park we wanted to go and different rides. And we had hotels and it was all planned out and it was all amazing. And I didn't do a lot of the planning because I was a kid. Well, when you grow up, no one's going to do that planning for you. And as parents, we're probably busy doing it for other people. Women especially do a lot of the kind of mental load on planning family fun. But not all of us are great about making sure that we also include in that extensive planning things that make us happy and fun. And some of that is fun with the family. I am absolutely not saying family fun is not personal fun as well, but some of it also might be separate. So we're going to talk today about thinking about what is fun and then how we might plan our fun at each time horizon. This is also a topic that's been written about before. I'm going to share 2 books about this that I have not read, but I've read other things by these authors, so I can't imagine they're not awesome. And I will plan on reading these next year because I just think they will be, enriching. One of them is called The Power of Fun by Catherine Price, who also wrote How to Break Up with Your Phone, which is fantastic. It's like a 10-year-old book, but it still has so many very true things that I agree with in it. And she's awesome. And then Find Your Unicorn Space by Eve Rodsky, who also wrote Fair Play, a very oft-cited book about mental load and sharing that equally in a partnership, or effectively, not necessarily equally, but effectively. All right, so those are some additional resources that I haven't personally looked at, but I can only imagine are awesome and will be reading in case you want to delve in more. But I am also going to just give you some food for thought about figuring out what is fun. I do feel like one thing I've seen talked about, and I agree with, is to think about what you liked doing when you were a kid. When I was a kid, I liked writing. I liked drawing in these like planners. So, wonder how that turned out. I liked singing. I definitely liked socializing. I liked cheerleading. I mean, that one didn't translate as well to my 45-year-old self. I liked, definitely liked doing a lot of social stuff and liked beautiful outdoor settings. So a lot of the things that you would like as a kid, you're probably still going to like as an adult. So reflecting back on the activities that were fun for you when you were growing up might give you some ideas as to what might be fun for you now. Another thing to think about is what are the activities you do when time just seems to stop? For some people, it's playing a musical instrument. I know my husband, when he picks up his guitar, like he goes into some kind of time warp because I'll be like, you were just playing the same passage for like 90 minutes or 2 hours. And he wouldn't have realized it because he was having so much fun and he was in a flow state. For me, I tend to get into flow when I'm reading or when I'm like drawing something really fun and maybe nerdy journaling wise in various planners and things, or playing with my sticker printer or blogging. Those are things that bring me into flow. I used to get into flow a lot running. Unfortunately, that fun is removed, but I have, now I can do flow yoga, etc. So think about when you go into that flow state because there's a good chance that some of that is fun for you. And then it's interesting to think about like different types of fun. Some fun is more extroverted and some fun is more energizing versus rejuvenating. And I was like, what are the categories of fun that come to mind? And I thought of restorative fun, which is like fun, but also relaxing. You're in a hammock, you're reading a book, or you're getting a massage or something like that. Exploratory fun, where you're trying something new and it's just fun to have that novelty. I think some people are more drawn to exploratory fun than others. I actually think my exploratory fun is on the lower side, but for other people, they love doing new stuff. Challenge fun. If you're doing some kind of like a puzzle game that's just hard enough, that would be an example of challenge fun. Social fun, definitely self-explanatory, but most of us have a specific dose of social fun that tends to work for us. Immersive fun is kind of like those flow state activities. And then creative fun, I guess. Some of that might actually also be exploratory or challenge or restorative, etc. But there is something specific about like creating art or creating writing project or something like that that I feel like puts it in a different category. And then one final thing to think about in terms of coming up with things that are fun are to just look at your history, reflect back on your prior fun. Maybe you're going to go through your photos and be like, wow, I look really happy when I went on that hike with my friend, or like when my husband and I took a walk and then went to a drink at the bar down the block or something. I don't know, I'm just making these things up. But like thinking about your prior self and what it found fun is probably going to be a huge clue. I know for me, I find our family ski trips so much fun. So I know that's fun that I want to incorporate into my future life for as long as I can. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get into some logistical challenges of fun, as well as some tips for planning and fun at every time level. Today's episode is brought to us support from Mint Mobile. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. That's why you should say yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 per month. Mint Mobile's plans start at $15 per month, and there are no unexpected overages or hidden fees. All Mint Mobile plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. So ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/BLP. That's mintmobile.com/BLP. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 per month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Today's episode comes to you with support from IXL. The autumn season is in full swing, and IXL helps keep your homeschool lessons or school enrichment structured and steady, whether you're following a set curriculum or creating your own. I personally love the simplicity that IXL offers. I don't have to dig through endless resources. IXL is organized by grade and topic, so I can jump right into what each child needs. My kids have been using IXL for years, and I really trust it to help solidify concepts and meet them where they are. Just like each leaf changes at its own pace, each child learns differently. IXL adapts so kids can move ahead when they're ready or revisit the topic until it truly clicks. Make an impact on your child's learning. Get IXL now. And Best Laid Plans listeners can get an exclusive 20% off IXL membership when they sign up today at IXL.com/plans. Visit IXL.com/plans to get the most effective learning program out there at the best price. Today's episode is brought to you with support from Green Chef. I love fall energy, like the fresh start of back to school, plus all of that delicious fall food. Warm, homey flavors just make everything feel comforting. Plus, with the new seasonal energy, it's the perfect time to reset and bring healthy habits back into focus. Green Chef can help you do just that, even if your season is packed with school festivities and events. Green Chef's meals are made up of real, clean ingredients, and they help you build lasting healthy habits without the hassle. With 80-plus dietitian-approved weekly meal options, Green Chef makes it easy to find meals that fit your lifestyle. Pick from Mediterranean, gluten-free, plant-based, and protein-heavy. There's even a gut and brain health option and calorie-smart choices, too. They really are family-friendly, and my kids are always so excited for our Green Chef dinners. Make this fall your healthiest yet with Green Chef. Head to greenchef.com/50bestlaid and use code 50bestlaid to get 50% off your first month, then 20% off for 2 months with free shipping. That's code 50bestlaid, as in 50bestlaid, at greenchef.com/50bestlaid. All right, I'm back, and we are going to talk about logistical challenges to fun. Number one is work. I'm not saying work can't be fun. There are going to be aspects of work that are fun. Sometimes I'm writing a blog post. I'm like, is this work? Is this fun? I don't know. Could be both. But, for many of us, there is a dividing line between certain types of work and fun, and we need to make sure that we are creating appropriate boundaries so that work doesn't seep into time when we want to be relaxed or having fun. And if we work for somebody, we need to be very strategic about allocating our time off to ensure we're able to maximize our fun. So we'll get to that during the annual and seasonal planning discussions, but work can be a kind of challenge to fun, and most of us have to work in some fashion. Number two, and this kind of counts as works because some people, their main work right now is providing for their kids at home and doing a lot of the work around the home to make everybody else comfortable. And so childcare is the second logistical challenges. And again, this is not to say we can't have fun with our kids. I have lots of fun with my kids. And I did when they were little, and I do now. But we can also have fun without our kids. And that fun we need to figure out what to do with our kids if we're going to have some types of fun without our kids. And then the third logistical challenge is some people, I think, get in this loop where they just feel like if I have not checked off every single box on every single list, then I can't have fun yet. I've got to be done with everything. And like newsflash, we're never going to be done with everything. I mean, I think some of the great books on this are like Oliver Berkman's 4,000 Weeks or Kendra Adachi's The Plan, like, accept that you're not going to be done. Give yourself a nice closing ritual and migrate your tasks so they're not getting you down. And then have fun or make fun a task itself. Sometimes I will do that, or I'm scheduling in something I know that's fun because that is like a nice signal to myself that, yeah, there may be undone to-do list items, but I've also scheduled this fun at 3:00 and I'm going to do it because it's part of the plan. All right, so getting to planning the fun, we're going to talk about that on each time horizon, daily. It is hard to plan in something big for the day. If you're planning your day in the morning, like I suggest you do, or the night before, and you're spending that 10 minutes figuring out what you're going to do in a given day, you might not be able to plan in something big, but maybe you can plan in something small and minor that still brings you some joy. For me, examples of this might be like, I have a busy work day, but can I text everyone and see if they can meet me for lunch? Or can I have a spark of joy by planning to stop at Starbucks right before I go round to the hospital? Or can I build in a phone conversation with a friend while taking a walk in the afternoon? There are certain types of fun that just don't require tons of planning, that if you see a day up ahead of you that just doesn't have anything, like you know that you're going to turn the page of your 5-year journal and be like, wow, nothing was remarkable about the day before. And that's never true, by the way. You can always come up with something. But still, if it doesn't seem like anything is going to really feel salient, then you can create something, even if it's something really tiny. Okay, so that's daily. Weekly, you have a little bit more bandwidth, and let's say you're planning your week up ahead on a Friday, you're looking ahead, you can look to see, is there something already in there that's fun for you? Because maybe when you did your seasonal planning, you already built in something really awesome, and then great, the week already looks like it's got plenty of fun, and you're good. But maybe you also look at the week and see that, oh my gosh, this is like a fun desert. We have nothing going on. Well, you are not going to plan to go on a cruise on Thursday if you're planning the week on Monday, but there are some lower planning needs fun that you could definitely arrange. And that's going to vary from person to person, what kinds of things you might choose. But just some examples I came up off the top of my head are things like a new TV show you want to watch or a book you want to read. You could carve out dedicated time to do that. You could plan a phone call or a walk and talk with a friend, or even like go full 2020 and be like, let's have a girls chat with wine at 8:00 on Thursday night, and we'll all get on FaceTime, and we don't need a babysitter because all the kids are in bed. But you know what? That would be fun. You could put together a very casual neighborhood hang on a weekend, like, hey, I made brownies if anybody wants to come by and chat. And that doesn't require tons of advanced planning. You could see if there are community events in your area that just might be fun, free, or low-cost things to check out over the weekend. Or you could say, I have a little, free time on Sunday afternoon, and we were thinking about going to the botanical gardens, and we should just slot that in. That will be fun. And then finally, you could challenge your family to try something new. If you feel like you guys are low on exploratory fun, something like an escape room or roller skating, something you haven't done before. Worst case, everyone hates it, but there is probably going to be a fun sense of adventure involved in giving it a try. On the monthly level, you've got a lot more time to plan. You can now think about things that require childcare. If you have young kids and you want to do fun without the kids, you can book a babysitter. I have to confess, I have been worse about doing fun date nights with my husband now that we don't need a babysitter, because my oldest is now 13, which is really babysitting age. And in the past, I would plan ahead for the season and have multiple date nights like, okay, we've booked this babysitter because that's the only way we can do it. And then we'd go. But now, because we don't have to have that ahead planning for the babysitter, we haven't been going. So yeah, I guess this is to say that maybe childcare planning might have one little advantage, which is that you are forced to plan some of your fun time ahead and might be more likely to do it. So monthly is the window where you might think about putting date nights on the calendar. That could be with a friend or with a partner or with yourself. Fun appointments, like some people find getting their nails done fun, or getting a massage or something like that. Or you might look ahead to see if there are local theater performances or like art museums, other kind of community events that you might want to check out. Plus, a month is enough time to arrange a fairly casual social event if you want to have people over for a dinner party or some kind of more casual hang. Seasonally are where we get into kind of bigger picture or even more seasonal fun list type fun. I just want to say seasonal fun lists are not limited to summer fun lists. They can really be done every single season. If you like to plan in quintiles, you could do a fun list for every quintile if you wanted to. In fact, when we go through our planning by season, every single season, I make everyone conduct a fun audit where we ensure that part of what is on our goals list for the upcoming season, that there are a few things that are specifically fun for us. So I highly encourage the seasonal fun list. Seasonal is where you can often do some travel planning, especially shorter weekend getaways. It's not like you need months and months ahead to do that planning. You could plan for some special events, which might need saving up for or budgeting for, like going to a big sports game or concert or something like that. You could host a bigger celebration for a holiday or just host a big gathering. Or you could even, for some people, sprucing up their environment in a seasonal way is really fun and a fun way to reflect the season. That your mileage are going to vary on that one. Like that would never be fun for me, but for many people, it brings them tons of joy. So I love that. And then finally, annually, you can spend time really thinking about how you want to maximize your fun in a given year. So one of the ways you're going to do that, as we talked about work not being a bad thing, but perhaps being an obstacle to some of the fun you want to experience, spending some time thoughtfully allocating your paid time off if you have a limited amount of paid time off that you take per year. If you have an unlimited paid time off schedule, but that leads to you not taking any time, that would also be very helpful for you to go through the year and think about when you are going to make sure you're not going to be at work. So that's a big thing you can do annually to kind of protect your yearly fun. You can also just really spend some deep thinking during that annual planning session about like, what do I want to do this year? Are there things I want to pull off my someday maybe list if I have one of those, or a 100 dreams list, and see if you can actually fit them in, like get your calendar out and see where they fit. Annually is also a great time to start planning more elaborate trips or fun that requires multiple people to coordinate. So annual planning is kind of when I start thinking about my college friends trips, which I tend to do each year. We've got 6 women living in different places, and coordinating those schedules is not quick or easy. So that's something that has to be done with my larger scale planning, but always pays off dividends because it's just an incredibly enjoyable and like enriching experience when I get to hang out with those friends. You could even go beyond annual and think about making sure you have fun things on your someday maybe list or 100 dreams list. And I've also talked about 5-year travel planning in the past. That's certainly a place where you could have brainstorming ideas for what might be fun in the future. But I think that's more visioning and like brainstorming and less actually planning. I think a lot of the planning happens at the annual level and down. So I hope in listening to this episode, you have felt inspired to plan some fun, maybe for this day, week, month, season, year. If you have different rituals or interesting ways that you go about planning your fun, I would love to hear about them. If you have questions to ask, please send them my way. I'm going to be sharing some follow-ups from other episodes. Like I got some fantastic tips for our listener who wanted planners with lots of high contrast ink for accessibility reasons. So I'll be sharing a roundup of suggestions for her in a future episode. And I have some really fun guests coming up as well. This episode is just me, but the next couple are going to be me and a guest. So this wraps up our episode on fun, as well as some course announcements. As I mentioned in the beginning, all that course info is coming out on the October 1st newsletter. So if you want to be among the first to learn about these courses and be able to register, please make sure you're signed up. It's theshoebox.com/newsletter. All right, with that, I wish you the best. I hope you have something fun planned today, and I'll be back in your feed next Monday. Have a wonderful week.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM, women's voices amplified.